Hi guys. Since I'm not able to edit this video, see, I just messed up. I tried getting over here as soon as possible, but don't worry, I'm not out of breath. Now, guys, I'm gonna be talking about the top 10 movies, top 10 most watched films throughout high school. So, for me, and these are my top 10 films of all time that I used to watch, religiously. I mean, I would watch them all the time. And I'm not gonna go in order again. I cannot rate or rank them because I would watch them all, and I never kept count of how many times I watched this film and that film. But definitely these are the most watched. Clerks being one of the most watched films throughout high school for me. What can I say, man? I love this film. This is the film that made me see black and white films different and actually give black and white films a chance. It was this film, not Psycho. But because of this film, I gave Psycho a chance, and I liked Psycho too. But I was psycho about this film, Clerks. It's just an amazing film. Kevin Smith does an amazing job. Everybody does an amazing job. Brian O'Halloran and the guy who plays Randall as well did a phenomenal job. And I really, really love this film. Just hilarious from beginning to end. Jeff Anderson, I had to get that out there. Brian O'Halloran and Jeff Anderson, of course, along with Jason Mewes and Kevin Smith. I mean, all those characters were just, great. But I love this film. Definitely one of my all-time favorite films of all time. You'll find it in my top 100 films of all time. Just like Lost Boys. But definitely one of my most watched films throughout high school. And the other one, of course, is Mallrats. Guys, if you haven't seen this one or Clerks, I recommend Clerks and then Mallrats, or either one. You're going to love them. There's no way you wouldn't find these movies funny. You might not like them because of them being too vulgar, or just because of some of the stuff that happens in the film. It might be a little too mature. So definitely not for young kids. But this, in my opinion, I see these films as are super bad. It was my super bad. When I was in high school. I'm talking about Superbad with Jonah Hill and Michael Cera. For this generation, that film is probably one of the funniest movies of all time, and I love that film too. I think it's awesome. But these two films were super bad, and I love them. Brody in this one is awesome. Of course, I'm talking about Jason Lee, Jeremy London's in it, and of course Claire Forlani and Shannon Doherty. Of course, I love that film as well. Evil Dead 2 is another film that I absolutely love. I love this cover, by the way. Take a look at that cover again. I mean, this is the most recommended film when I used to work at Hollywood Video that I would tell people about. And the way I would tell them was I would ask them, of course, have you seen Exorcist? And they were like, yeah, we've already seen that. I'm looking for something new. Or yeah, I've already seen that. And I would tell them, well, okay, imagine Exorcist. Imagine Linda Blair, or the girl who's possessed, not being tied up, but being able to fly around, being able to chase you, being able to grab you and run, walk towards you, basically not being restrained. And that always sold it for them. And it's an awesome. I mean, look at this Rob Zombie-like cover. I just absolutely, as you can tell, I absolutely love this cover. One of my top 10 covers of all time. Another top 10 cover is Creepshow. I'll get in. That'll be for another video. But Evil Dead 2, definitely just faster, more in your face, scarier, and more comedic than the first one. In my opinion, more entertaining, and I just love it. It gets right to it. Creepshow, one of my most watched films of all time throughout high school. I love this film. I mean, if you're looking for a film that has a bunch of scary tales and just with horror and comedic elements, this movie is just. I mean, you're talking about two classic filmmakers getting together. George A. Romero, of course, from Dawn of the Dead and Night of the Living Dead, and Stephen King, from Carrie, The Shining, Cujo, you name it. I mean, they got together, and there's 4 tales in the first part, and it's just one of my favorite Halloween movies to watch because it involves scary tales. And here we go. It's kind of like watching a Tales from the Crypt, but like, just, episode like in a movie form. And Creepshow 2 is another one for movie covers, awesome movie covers. Let's check out this guy, the Creep. I mean, to me, he always reminded me of the Jeeper Creeper character. I mean, he just kind of looks like him. Didn't have the coat and everything, but I guess his face shape and everything. But I love this film. This is one of my favorite films of all time. I think this one's more fast paced and kind of like Evil Dead 2. It kind of gets going quick. And as opposed to Creepshow. But even though Creepshow is still a great film, Creepshow 2 is also very good and one of my most watched films throughout high school. Another film that I love is Demolition Man, with Sylvester Stallone and Wesley Snipes. Definitely one of my favorite action comedy films of all time, along with Rush Hour and others. But this one I would watch all the time. The Three Seashells. If you ask somebody, it's so crazy because I'll recommend this film and I'll mention it and people don't know what I'm talking about. I don't get it because it's got to be watched. If you watch this film, you're gonna love it, and it's so entertaining. It's so I guess a lot of people don't realize this or they don't know this, especially if you were in diapers when this movie came out, or if you're too young, you're not gonna realize the importance of this film. It does take place in the future. It has to do with a police officer trying to get the most ruthless criminal of all time. But I was gonna say it was two action icons posing each other, and in my, I don't know if that was the first time they ever did that, but in my record, to my knowledge, it was for me. That's what got me excited about it. And then they didn't wait. They went for it, and they both did exceptional jobs. I still don't. I've never seen Wesley Snipes play a better role. He plays an awesome villain, and he's so funny. He's got all. I always love his action. I mean, he's just an awesome martial artist. And then of course Sylvester Stallone. He's got the punches. He's strong. I mean, it's just a great movie. I mean, a great action comedy. You got to check this movie out. Clown House, definitely one of my most watched films, and I always recommend this film, especially when people go on about It, and I'm talking about the original It, and even when they talk about the new It, I'll throw this one out there, and not a lot of people don't know about it. This was made by the maker of Jeepers Creepers, Tom Savini. I'm sorry. Oh my God, what the hell am I saying? Oh man. Okay, now you got me. And this show is unedited, right? Well, that's my fault then. But Tom Savini, I'm sorry, I know who that is, by the way. Tom Savini came out in Dusk Till Dawn, first of all. He also, big time special effects guy, did a lot of special effects he did special effects for, I believe he did it for Creepshow also, but Friday the 13th films. But I'm sorry, I meant Victor Salva, not to get them confused, because I'm sure Tom Savini wouldn't want to be confused with Victor Salva for many, many reasons. Of course, there's that whole everything everybody knows about what happened, the controversy surrounding this film in particular. But here in this movie, we also have a young Sam Rockwell. I mean, he came out also in the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I believe it was the first one or the second one. But anyway, you got to check this out. Like I said, when people talk about It, this is my favorite clown movie of all time, or clown scary movie. So Leatherface is another one. Leatherface, The Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3. The Saw is Family. Like I said, probably the most rented film until I could finally buy it. I was happy. But I would rent it so many times when I remember. This is so funny. I'll go back to. I remember I would always rent it because I was weird. I was a pretty weird kid because I would always kind of. I don't know if I'm the only one, but when I was younger and even believe it or not, maybe junior high, I would kind of watch films and I wasn't. This movie got me thinking a lot. Demolition Man, because every time I would watch Demolition Man, for some reason, I was expecting. I don't know why I wasn't expecting, or I should say, I don't know why I wasn't expecting the same outcome. I was watching it going in, trying to see if anything was going to change. Like, I didn't understand that a movie was always going to be the same, even though I had watched so many movies before and you know, knew that they usually ended the same. I don't know why. Demolition Man, for some reason, and this movie, I would always kind of watch with a little more interest and a little more excitement because I was wanting to see if things were going to end a little different. You know, was Wesley Snipes going to actually defeat Stallone? Was Leatherface, you know, were the bad guys going to kill everybody here? You know, like, were they going to win? It was weird. I don't know. I know that's a little bit over the top. But another movie, speaking of over the top, check it out. Jack Black's over the top here with Gwyneth Paltrow in Shallow Hal, because she is just so heavy, you know, in this movie. But talk about heavy laughs. I mean, this is a heavy movie, heavy laughs. Great movie. One of the best comedies of all time, in my opinion. And you know, I would watch this all the time as well. And in particular, I would love to, I remember I would watch this one along with Meet the Parents, side by side. You know, it didn't matter if it was Meet the Parents first or Shallow Hal, and then Shallow Hal, or Shallow Hal and then Meet the Parents. But I would always watch these two back to back, and I really enjoy them. I mean, they're hilarious. You know, Robert De Niro here and Ben Stiller, just you know, once again a great comedy, you know, pair right there. Just like I mentioned, Kevin Bacon and Fred Ward in Tremors. I thought they just played very well off each other, and they're a great team. I think Robert De Niro and Ben Stiller I think they're two of the best guys as far as a comedic team that I've ever seen. But yeah, these movies I would watch all the time when I was, you know, during high school, and I would love to watch them again if I had time. It's just things are so crazy when you get older, guys. I'm sure you know it gets a lot harder to watch movies, and there's so many movies, so little time. But I definitely want to watch some of these again. Thank you guys.